Hello everyone, I'm André from the Mental Health and I'm here with Louise, a drama therapist. Do you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, I'm Louise Combes. I work at the moment in Emerge. I've been there for a few years. Emerge is the complex emotional needs service in Leeds and York Partnership Foundation Trust.
And this is brilliant. So we're talking about creative arts and mental health. I've been working in mental health for like 25 years and you always get loads of really positive things said about creative arts by people with mental health problems. But we don't always hear about the evidence behind it or how we're actually doing it at scale and all those sorts of things. So from your perspective, why are creative arts important in mental health services?
Yeah, I think it's really important to sort of state there's a difference between arts and health, which is fantastic, and it's what lots of people do, where they go and they do art, and creative art therapy, which is a psychotherapy really. There's music, drama, and art, and also dance movement. And in those places, we're basically using our speciality as another way of accessing things. So sometimes people find it really hard to talk about difficult stuff, but it's the difficult stuff that's getting in the way of them getting well. And so just coming at it from a gentle, different angle is really good fun and also revealing and not too awful. So everyone enjoys a bit of being creative and having that connection that comes from doing something they enjoy, whether it's music or movement, or in my case, a bit of all of those things. I think it's really helpful that they can enjoy finding out something authentic about themselves with something that they already don't mind doing. But also sometimes it's about working with people who don't even like the arts, but they don't know what they like. We can just work with it's a bit like being a detective really, work with the stuckness.
Give me an example of someone who opened up through this process and it then helped them with their recovery.
Sometimes people struggle to come to sessions and, for example, quite often people will say to me, I'm just feeling, and then they'll say a word which isn't a word like meh, and I'll say, great, let me unpack that with you. So it is light and it's not about having kind of any judgment. It's just about being together relationally. And I think this conference has been all about relationships and how important it is to be validated. And a really important idea in drama therapy is that idea of apperception, which is the idea that I'm seen and therefore I exist. And of course, as drama therapists, that's what we're doing. We're meeting somebody and seeing them in whatever way they feel they want to be seen.
And historically, I think it's fair to say that there's a lack of robust scientific evidence about the arts and mental health, but that's changing, and the big research funders are recognising that and starting to fund more of these sorts of projects, particularly over the last 10 years or so. And ATTUNE is one of the projects which you've been involved in presenting here at the conference. Tell us about ATTUNE.
Yeah, so ATTUNE's really exciting because one of the things we know about research is it's really difficult to include people who are a bit more complicated because they tend to get put to one side of the research. They tend to get excluded because it's too complicated. But actually those are the people who we really need to know about, right? What's exciting is ATTUNE is actually using creative arts to try and understand that a bit more. And they're really early on. So there's not a lot we can say, but they are using the arts to get really authentic feedback from people to try and structure something difficult. But to answer your other question, the thing about why is there so little evidence about creative arts psychotherapies, and I think it's because whenever you try and test it, you're testing it with people who don't say very much, so you haven't got any sort of baseline evidence. And the creative process is all about things emerging. So it's really hard to get that into publications because rightly people look at the methodology and maybe it's not solid enough, but it's hard to come up with a methodology that works for that emergent process, I think.
So there's something about inclusion in research and the kind of desire to make research more anti-racist I think currently most mental health research that has been produced up to this point is very racist because it doesn't include the people that are a fair representation of society. But this research, this arts-based research that you're talking about, is often aimed at those people who have been discriminated against or not reached or not included in studies. So it feels like we're using a really innovative method to do something which we've been trying really hard to do for years and failing at. It feels like that's quite an exciting kind of combination of things.
Yeah, I think it really is. We live in a time where young people are under so much pressure and there's more and more neurodiversity and we don't really understand a lot about that. And arts is a really good way of engaging with people without having a sort of structured idea of what the starting point is. So culturally, you bring your culture, whatever culture that is. If it's a different racial group or a different neurodiverse group, that's the starting point. We start with your version of nya, whatever that is.
Wonderful. I love it. Thank you so much for talking to me.
Thank you for giving me this opportunity.